Hey, this is Derek Slater. I'm a policy manager here on Google's public policy team, and I run the Jack and Jill the Innovator project. I was at a party recently where I met these two people, Jennifer and Phesto, who struck me as really great Jack and Jill the Innovators to talk to. They're both artists at different stages of their careers and their online careers, and I thought it'd be fun for them to have a conversation with each other. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer to have her introduce herself and what she does, and then introduce Phesto and interview him. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you, Derek. I'm Jennifer Muhawi. I'm now a classical crossover artist in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been classically trained for about 10 years. I started out as a pure opera singer, doing auditions and gigs with local and regional opera companies. And in the last couple of years, I have branched out to other genres of music in kind of a cross-genre fashion. I have collaborated with jazz musicians recently and produced a French classic pop album called Ciel de Paris, and later going to go into more of a rap, classical hip hop crossover adventure. So getting into the more mainstream worlds, it's becoming increasingly important to be present online and have the same kind of strategies as pop artists versus classical artists. And in that sense, I'm very new to the online world, Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other musicians are using. And so I was hoping to learn a little bit or a lot from Phesto here, who has much experience in that arena. And so Phesto, do you mind introducing yourself a little bit and how long you've been online?
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. My name is Phesto. I'm a member of the Souls of Mischief and also a member of Hieroglyphics. We're a, I guess you want to say, alternative hip-hop group from the Bay Area. We've been around since, I guess, like 1991. Del the Funky Homo Sapien dropped his first record. On that record, he had a B-side called Burnt, where we all appeared on there. And from there, we all got major label record deals, and one of the groups that got a deal was a group called Souls of Mischief, which I'm a part of, and also the larger umbrella, which is Hieroglyphics. We started off on a major label, and then we all were subsequently dropped off of the major label, Dell included, and we had to kind of start from zero, so to speak, but not, we had already developed a fan base while we were on the major label. So what we did is we decided to start a website, and we started hieroglyphics.com. Hieroglyphics.com has been up and running for about 15 years now, and that kind of springboarded our careers and our independent record label, Hieroglyphics Imperium. So that's a little bit about Hieroglyphics and myself. I feel like this conversation is good because even though I've been doing this for a while, this is my first solo venture, so in that aspect, I'm kind of a new artist as well because I've never released a solo project. So this is a new thing for me, the whole social networking and that kind of thing, doing it from a solo aspect. But the group Souls of Mischief and Hieroglyphics are still together, still strong. We still tour about 100 days out of the year. And in fact, we're going to Europe next week to keep on touring and keep the movement going, I guess you could say. So any questions you have, Jennifer, fire away.
Okay, great. Actually, I have a list of prepared questions, but one just came to mind. So, as part of a group, see, that's the difference between my endeavor and yours, I guess, because I've always been solo, and I've worked with other people and collaborated. But in terms of my online presence, my website is jennifermuhawi.com. It's not part of a group, and so whenever I try and post something, it's always me, and that mixes with my personal life. Obviously, I don't have a stage name. So is your effort, do you normally carry the weight of the group, or is it kind of more of a group effort in terms of your online postings and who holds the accounts, in terms of social media?
Well, it depends. In terms of my solo stuff, I happen to carry the weight of that. But as far as the groups Souls of Mischief and Hieroglyphics, we have people that help us with that. It's so many of us, and it's obviously a much larger following, so we need a little more help. But when it comes to just me, I run everything myself. And Souls of Mischief, we've been self-managed for probably about the past 10 years. So everything is in-house.
So what kind of social media channels do you use personally for the benefit of the group and also for your, solo work? Do you use Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest? I know that's a new one coming out. Reverb Nation, MySpace. What are the sites you're most active on?
Okay, well, a few of them you named. Twitter, Facebook. I have a Tumblr blog. I use Bandcamp, Reverb Nation, Google Plus. Let's see, SoundCloud, Instagram. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Leaving anything out? I think that's about it.
Okay, so this is probably why I've been procrastinating on all of this effort, because that sounds like a lot of sites to be on at once. And are there certain sites you don't have to say Google Plus just because Derek is here and we're on the Hangout, but are there certain sites you prefer and get more of a response and an interaction from with your fans than others? Is there just a personal preference, like maybe maybe it's easier to use and you get more of a reaction and feedback?
I think maybe it's probably a tie between Twitter and Facebook, because I was I started off with the social networking thing. Obviously, we had our website, but we didn't really do that much like blogging on there or forum chat. But I started with MySpace. That was the first thing I really got into as far as the social networking thing and talking to fans online. So I think Facebook was more of a natural transition once I initially got my own page and then got a fan page. And then from there I went to Twitter, and I found Twitter to be really, really work really well for me. So those are the two I use most, and then those kind of got me interested in other sites like Tumblr and Instagram, and so those are probably the ones I use the most.
Okay, so let's just see it this way for a second. You have your top tier of Facebook and Twitter, and then you have your second tier of Tumblr and MySpace and everything else. How often would you say you post content and interact with fans and friends on your tier 1, Facebook and Twitter?
You know what? It's sometimes I'm on there every day, but sometimes I have little hiatuses here and there when I'm working. I still try to say something on Twitter or post a link to something or something of that nature. But especially when I'm out touring and I'm on the road and I'm working, I try to keep the fans abreast of what's going on and let them know what we're up to and what I'm up to.
And is it? I mean, obviously you've been doing it for a while, so maybe this is something you're going to have to think about, really, versus it being an unnatural question. Is it fun for you, or do you think of it as part of your job? And I know that's probably hard to answer.
For me, it's fun. It's fun. I like interacting with the fans and fans of hieroglyphics. They know we're a grassroots group. We come out and shake hands and we're at the merchandise booth after the show and we're walking around mingling. We're at the bar. So it's just like a natural progression for me, the whole social networking thing. And I like, I have other hobbies like photography and that kind of thing. So I like to post pictures and, kind of chronicle my life, through other ways other than words or music. So it's like, it's fun for me. I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it so much, I would see it like it's something that I needed to do anyway. But because I enjoy it, it makes it easier.
Okay, so that was a good answer. But I guess my follow-up question to that would be, what kind of things do you post? You mentioned that you enjoy photography and you're posting that. I'm assuming you're not setting little reminders every day to post something. It's just something you feel inspired to share with others. So is it every time you feel inspired that you feel like, do you ever think of your audience as, you've got friends, you've got fans, you've got people you know personally, people you don't know personally? Does that affect the kind of content and information that you're sharing? Or, how do you judge what kind of content you should be sharing or you will share?
You know what? It's kind of spontaneous. So I might be just driving down the street and I'll have a thought and I'll just I'll blog it, or I may see something that I like, or something happened at the show that night that's interesting, and I'm like, people need to see this and get a window into, because we're not, that's like my form of advertising. You know what I'm saying? It's like letting people know what's going on with me. I don't have enough, I don't have this like super $1 million budget behind me to like show commercials and videos and that kind of thing. So this is the way that I let people know what's going on with me. But a lot of it, like I said, a lot of it is just spontaneous and just, spur of the moment. Like, especially when we're on tour, because I hang around with a bunch of funny guys. So they'll say stuff that's just like, I want everybody else to hear this, because it's like, it's so funny, or, something that I feel like people should hear and get to know us,
Yeah, that's good. This is another thing. I know that a lot of musicians are out there building followers, building fans. What would you say are the 3 most significant things you've gained from developing a following and being so interactive and in constant contact with your fans and followers? They could be family members too.
3, I would say that it's definitely, added. We've been able to sustain our careers by being, in touch with our fans. Because like I said, we were on a major label, and once we transitioned to becoming an independent label, it was like, it was our fans that kept us afloat. And this little symbol right here. It's just a simple thing, but we put it on a T-shirt, and it happened to be, the flagship of our label, and we branded ourselves. Whether we, that was the thing about it. We didn't realize we were doing it, but it created a brand, and everywhere you go, you see people with tattoos, and like we never thought it would be like what it is, but it's not, it's not this like mass population of people, but the small population of people are very loyal, and that's the thing, So, I don't know if I can name 3, but I would say the loyalty of our fans is what really has helped us maintain our longevity, and allowed us to keep being able to do what we love to do so much.
Do you know offhand, like how many Facebook followers you have and how many Twitter followers you have at this point?
On Twitter, my personal Twitter page, I have about 1,000 followers, and my Facebook, which is fairly new, they're not even 6 months old, I have about 500. But like I said, I just started I'm new to this as far as my solo career. Mm-hmm. A lot of people know me as a part of Souls of Mission for a part of Hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics has over 50,000 followers on Twitter and Facebook, and Souls of Mischief is hovering around 15,000 right now. And we just started a Twitter site, because we've all had our, we've all been doing our own thing. So we just started a Twitter, and it's building followers. But that's we're new on that front as well. But Hieroglyphics that's where everybody comes to get information about it.
So do you have kind of a strategy to build more fans? I guess take the band Facebook page and Twitter account and kind of cross-connect, so that you can pick up some of those. I think you said 50,000 fans. I think that's an extraordinary number. So is there some kind of strategy that you're working on to connect those two together?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing right now is we need to just come with material because that's the main thing. We've been idle as far as hieroglyphics project itself. So our material is that's what brings people to our social networking hubs.
Mm-hmm.
Hieroglyphics.com is the main hub, and then we all have our individual links from that hub. But we don't have a plan, so to speak, implemented as far as like interconnecting them because we feel like they already are interconnected.
Right.
But anything that's new that's coming out, like you're gonna see me at a place like the Music Tech Summit because I want to know what the new thing is, so that we can always stay on the cutting edge of that.
Right. So let's say that, okay, I mean, I understand that obviously content is going to be the most important thing here. And so if you're updating your content on your main hieroglyphics site, then it's going to feed into all these different accounts and people are going to, fan you one way or another, and that's how it's going to be driven. But let's say you're a new you're a new artist. Like, for example, I just came out with my solo album, and I didn't build a following beforehand on Facebook. I'm trying to build it now. So I have a little piece of content, and I'm going to have more content. But if you could think back to the beginning of when you first started, what advice do you have for someone like me who's just trying to build it from scratch and doesn't have a connecting site that's already popular?
Yeah, well, what I would say is, you want to start with your basics, obviously your Facebook, Twitter, so on, all the stuff that I named. I feel like artists, that's kind of like standard now. You need to have that. I mean, a website is great, but I think people now is transitioned more from just a website to like a blogosphere type thing where people need to be updated constantly. A website just kind of sits idle and then it gets updated every week or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or whatever it is. But I think people want to see day to day, week to week activities from an artist as opposed to I'll go back to this website and it's still just kind of sitting there. So that's what I would say. If you already have a website or if you already have this stuff, make sure that you're updating it constantly and letting your fans know what's going on. But obviously with music, it starts with the music, obviously,
right.
and then from there, you almost have to kind of every artist is different, every situation is different. So I can't say do it the way we did it, but I think the common thread with artists who were able to succeed online is the fact that they don't sit idle. They keep they stay on the cutting edge. They keep updating whatever it is, their website or their whatever social networking thing they're doing, and letting fans know what's going on at all times. So that would be one thing I would do. I've seen your website. I like your website.
Well, thank you. JenniferMuhawi.com. Okay, so I have a couple more questions for you. Do you ever advertise? I know Facebook has a promote it function, and I guess you can advertise, and it's a pay-per-click thing. I don't know too much about it, but maybe you do if you use it.
We advertise. Yeah, we do a lot of advertising online. We have a publicist that does most of that stuff for us. But as far as personally, I go to my page and I post up as much stuff as I can as far as music, merchandising, things of that nature. So, but I haven't used that particular feature.
Okay, so you have a publicist that handles more of a larger online.
Right,
campaign.
But they don't. Yeah, they're not in print at all. They're only online. So
only online.
Right.
Do you know a little bit more about the kinds of things that they're doing?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Were you getting ready to say something?
No. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh well. Basically, what they do is they get us out to all of the blogs and all of the any premieres that we have that we want to break to DJs and things of that nature is what they do. They don't do anything in print magazine or anything of that nature.
Right. Okay, good. I guess I just have one more question. Are there any other resources for somebody like me that you, or maybe even somebody at your stage, would look to get more ideas on the new and upcoming social media channels and, the new features within them? Any kind of forums or resources that are online that would be helpful for other musicians?
You know what? I don't. Other than things I name, I can't think of anything right now. But definitely do all of those things that I spoke of earlier, because, like I said, those are the basics. You're on the right path. You have your website. You have a wonderful voice. So I mean, that's going to take you a long way in itself. But I would say if you were to do what we did, you have to brand yourself in some way to separate yourself from everybody else that's out there.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done, but you have to create something that's recognizable and something that will separate you from the mass. And I think that's the beginning of a great career.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone says there's no formula. You just have to get out there and post and be yourself. And a lot of it is trial and error, and just signing up and starting is really the hurdle that everyone has to get over. But this was really helpful for me. Thank you so much, Phesto. And thank you, Derek, also.
Hey, my
You're still
pleasure,
there?
guys. I'm still here. Yeah, no, I'm just listening. This is great. And yeah, this was awesome. I thank you guys for taking the time and being part of the Jack and Jill the Innovator series.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you,
you,
Derek.
Derek. Thank you for the opportunity.